Okay, so I'm back, and I'm gonna continue earlier live I did with Susie Montero. So gonna be beginning this one again soon. If you guys like what you see that I'm doing, just feel free to follow me or subscribe to my videos on YouTube.
Hey.
So, yeah, it's good to see you again, Susie. It's good to have you back on. Um, I guess we can kind of continue unless you want to kind of start over.
It's up to you. So sorry about that. Unfortunately.
We'll just kind of start it over. So maybe you could start out, just kind of introduce yourself again.
Okay, so my name is Susie Montero. I was an MMA fighter a while back. I haven't been active for a long time, but I'm in hopes of probably starting over, getting back in the game. If not, definitely pursuing my Jiu-Jitsu.
And I kind of want to start back. Maybe we could go a little more in depth about when you started doing like the kung fu and the traditional martial arts at first. Like, how old were you?
I believe I was 19 years old.
And what made you decide to pursue those?
I always wanted to do martial arts since I was a young, pretty much a little girl. My brothers did judo, and funny enough, I always watched Rocky and Karate Kid, so I was always interested in. I was always interested in doing martial arts. So unfortunately, when I was younger, not a lot of girls did it. It was a little expensive. My father didn't want me doing martial arts because I was a girl, so it took a long time. I think I was, yeah, like I said, 19, and then I ended up pursuing it myself.
So you kind of had to wait until you were an adult to pursue because they wouldn't let you.
Yeah, yeah, it was something I always wanted to do, and it's a great outlet.
Now, let's kind of talk a little bit more about it because I know we talked a little bit about the kung fu and stuff, but which one did you take up first?
um, Kung Fu actually. It's
Yeah, and
called
I
Choi
remember.
Foot, Choi Lei Foot Kung Fu.
Yeah, and I remember you talking about how you liked the forms and stuff, but maybe what were some of the other stuff you gained out of it?
Um, Self control, discipline. Um, I got in really great shape too. Um, and being involved in a community that helped a lot too. Growing up, I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood, to be honest. Down here in Florida, it's called Liberty City. So I guess you can call it the hood. Um, so, like I said, it was a really great outlet for me, and it showed me a lot of discipline.
Now, what are some of the techniques that you might have learned there that you felt you took away from or more effective than others? Or
Well, in toilet foot kung fu, there is called a punch, a sao choi. To me, I would kind of simulate it to a overhand right, and that was probably one of my strongest, um, I guess, punches. But the funny part about toilet foot kung fu, they do southpaw. So when I did, convert or turn over to Muay Thai or kickboxing, I had to do how do you call it, orthodox. So that was a whole different ball game.
no, so how long did you do the kung fu before you kind of transitioned into something else?
Um, about a year and a half, 2 years.
And then you went into Muay Thai or boxing?
After kung fu, which in kung fu they do san chao. Yeah, I went straight into Muay Thai.
So was this at like a this was at a different gym, I take it. when you went to
Yeah, it was called TKA. It was actually a Taekwondo school, but the head coach and owner, um, he did, he did a lot of Muay Thai fights. Like his fighters, he would take them into Muay Thai fights. And when I came in, he saw that I had some, I guess, talent, and I trained really hard too. So he just took it upon himself and took me under his wing at the moment, and he started putting me into a lot of fights. So
how many fights did you have at that with it? That's cool.
I don't remember, Todd. I was like 20,
Odd
20,
or
about four,
okay.
four.
Now coming from Kung Fu obviously is a bit different technically, more of a traditional martial art per se. You go into Muay Thai, so maybe when you're getting your first exposure to it, what were you thinking in comparison to
Oh
what
my
you'd
God, it
been?
was different. It was very different. Just the training itself was a lot more. Um, it was a lot more difficult, to be honest. And when I went to the kung fu school, everybody would just kind of help everybody. But when you do Muay Thai, it's kind of like a one-on-one with the coach. Um, there's Thai, Thai pads and focus mitts, and yeah, we didn't really have none of that in kung fu. Their equipment was a little bit basic versus when you go to a Muay Thai school, they have Muay Thai bags and they have the pads, and yeah, it was very different, very different.
So like an elevated training environment from the quality of what you had previously.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then as you're training in Muay Thai, that's when you kind of start to transition to MMA, right? To like American Top Team and whatnot.
It took me a minute, um, especially with Jiu-Jitsu. It was a little weird for me. I'm like, it's a little up close and personal. You
Mm.
Certain decisions were like, whoa. I actually started doing jiu-jitsu after I had my son. I think he was probably 6 months old, and then I was like, you know what? Let me try this jiu-jitsu thing and see what it's all about. And that's pretty much when I started saying, well, I mean, if I know how to do kickboxing and I know jiu-jitsu, um, why not try MMA?
So who were you training with in jiu-jitsu before you started the MMA?
The first coach I had was Marcel Ferreira. Hard to say in English, but in Spanish, Marcel Ferreira. And he was pretty well known, back in the days when I first started. Um, and I believe he was brought down from Brazil, and he did some MMA fights as well. Unfortunately, he had an injury in one of the MMA fights due to the fact that one of the referees didn't do a good call. But after that, I would just kind of train here and there wherever I could get any jujitsu. And then after that, I actually went. Um, the longest place I trained jiu-jitsu was American Top Team Fort Lauderdale with Junior Fernandez, and then I guess I can say that's when I transitioned over to Wagner Rocha.
Yeah, tell me about that. So I know you wanted to talk about him, and obviously it's like a hardcore competitor, and so maybe tell me about him.
You know what? When because my husband and I kept like transitioning here and there, it was really hard to find a martial arts school, especially after that TK Taekwondo school. We went to a few places. He mainly trained at the Coconut Creek American Top Team. I kind of floated around a little bit, especially after pregnancy, and it's really hard to find. Um, One of the gentlemen that you had on the other day when I joined, he made a really great point, and said, if you could find a good coach that can, you know, guide you and help you in your journey and develop, it's crucial. But back then, as a woman, it was really hard to find that kind of guidance and help. So I kind of went around a little bit. I did go to Wagner Rocha School once or twice because I had moved in with my brother for like a month. And I did like it. It's just we moved out and we were no longer in the Hollywood area. But as far as after I transitioned from American Top Team Fort Lauderdale to Wagner Rocha, um, he's a he's an amazing competitor. He's very hardcore, very vicious, but he's such a great guy. He has a really big heart. You know, I it's kind of personal, but that's okay. I don't mind saying it. To me, he saved my life and my children. Back in 2020 in November, down here in downtown Fort Lauderdale, there was a big flood, and we lost our home. We lost everything inside the home. And I remember I was freaking out. I was with the kids by myself, and the water's coming in. I have a lot of electrical equipment because my son has health needs or whatever, and I was I was really scared. I reached out to a few people. I even reached out to the pastor to the church where I was going at that time, and nobody came out. And I don't know what happened, but his head popped into my brain, and I messaged him, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Listen, I really need help. I'm being flooded in. Um, can you come get the kids?" And he's like, "What do you need? You need me to get the kids? You need me to come get you?" I said, "Yes, please." And at this moment, like we were uh, in the depth of the storm, and against all warnings and advisory, he said, "Give me a second. Let me talk to my wife, Papa, and I'll get right back to you." He got back to me within minutes, and he's like, "Send me your address right now." And he came out. He came out. He was at my house 20 minutes later. The water was right under the door of his truck. And here we are with water up to our waist, carrying the babies into his truck, and he took us to his home. He made sure to pay for a few nights of hotel, and then he made a group chat in his group chat or whatever. And he asked anybody that wanted to help, that we had lost everything, and they did a GoFundMe, and I don't care what anybody says about him. To me, he saved my life. He's my hero. Um, anything that we needed, especially to help my son and I, um, he made sure to help. There was a moment where I couldn't even, pay for the membership or whatever, and he worked things out. He, I don't know. He's a really good person. I think that he's one of the best in the world. And I think that he's amazing because he's still competing at this age. He's the only one that came out and actually competed against, my God, I can't remember his name. He's really good in, how could I forget his name? I don't remember, but he's huge. He's like one of the best in the world or whatever.
I believe he competed
Yes,
against Ryan.
you,
Yeah.
Ryan. And if you look at them, he's like way bigger than Wagner. You know what I mean? And he still went out there and he competed against them. And to be honest, it took Gordon Ryan a good minute to submit him. So that's why I said to me he is one of the best in the game, jiu-jitsu. And if things don't work out with what I said I wanted to do earlier, I would definitely go back there. I would go back there, or like I said again, a V. So my first choice is definitely Wagner Rocha. He has a big heart. That man has a really big heart, and I like the fact that he's straight to the game. He don't bullshit. He don't mess with nobody. He don't talk shit about nobody. He straight up just jiu-jitsu, and he has one of the best kid programs that there is down here in South Florida. Down here in South Florida, it's packed with fighters, amazing fighters, great gyms, up and coming, and I can by far truthfully say that he has some of the best kids in the world.
Now, you were talking about the floods. Was it due to hurricane or
It
heavy?
was a hurricane warning, and then it became a storm. Um, Todd, forgive me. I've had a long week. I haven't had any nurses for my son, so I've been pretty much on shift. So I haven't been able to even sleep or concentrate. But yeah, it became a storm, and it just rained and rained and rained and would not stop raining. And that part of Fort Lauderdale, kind of close to downtown Fort Lauderdale, there was a lot of floods. I wasn't the only one that lost my home. So.
How often does it flood like that?
I'm sorry?
How often does it flood like that, or is it in certain parts? I would think, right? Maybe.
There are certain parts in Florida that have bigger chances of flooding versus others or whatever. But apparently, that area where I was staying at is common for floods.
So now you probably live in a place that maybe not so common for floods. More likely now.
I'm not too far from there, but yeah, I'm like a hop and a skip away from where it happened. But yeah, the location where I ended up is I guess a little bit less predominant for floods. Not as much, but
So he had like a lifted truck. That's why he was able to get out to you.
yeah, he has one of those big old trucks.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, you were lucky that you called. Did you know he had a truck like that, or had you just called him and
I don't
hoped?
told you I have no idea why I reached out to him because I mean it's not like we're close like that. I mean I know his wife from before, conversations here and there. She's very nice. I know he had I don't want to say a personal attachment to my son, but he really cared about my son because my son is very gifted in jiu-jitsu and especially wrestling. He kind of stopped doing jiu-jitsu because he just fell in love with wrestling, and he just has such a great future in wrestling. He has so many schools trying to recruit him, and like I told you earlier, the president of the wrestling team for Costa Rica has an interest in him now as well. Um, but I don't know why I called him, but I do know that he would have done the same thing for anybody else.
One of my friends in the area, his daughter is like the maybe top 15-year-old wrestler here in Oklahoma, and apparently he's aware of your son. That's what she said.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, let me tell you, some people just walk up to him and they know who he is, and he's like, hey, you know, um, he's really, really amazing. And he grew in such a short time, I mean, his mom and his dad were fighters. It's in his blood, you know. I trained some when I was pregnant with him, and then dad would take him around in the car seat, to teach in many different schools that he ended up teaching. A lot of them were, well, pretty much I think all of them were American top teams, most of them anyways. Charles Rosa knows my son and he loves him. Like he always asks for him, he's known him since he was a little toddler running around. Um, so I'm sorry.
How old is he?
Kalias is 14.
Oh, so he's even though he's 14, he's still kind of being recruited already, huh?
Well, I mean, Kalias is 14 and he competes against kids that are like 17, almost 18. He's a eighth grader and he competes against seniors and he's beating them.
Mm. How often do you have to go to tournaments? Is he competing like constantly? Because
He's
this
in
guy his
nationals.
all the time.
He's in nationals right now.
Uh, so
So
he
he
competes all the time.
all, all the time. I don't really go often. If I don't have a nurse, I have to stay with Raiden, and I really honestly prefer not to take him to overpopulated places like that. He gets pretty frustrated and tired quick. The fact that he can get sick or whatever, and then there's always the reason that he's a teenager. He's like, I don't want my mama around. I get nervous, mom. You make me nervous. So I don't go as often, but he's gotten better about it. Um, and he has a girlfriend. And his girlfriend loves me, so now he's like, all right, mom, come to the tournament, come hang out with my girl. So it's crazy, right? How they're so little and then they just grow up.
Right. And he's still got high school to go through, so he probably haven't even thought about anything he's going to do beyond that, right?
Actually, he has a plan. He has a plan, which is amazing to me because at that age, I was doing a whole lot of different things than he was. So I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of him. He's maintained his focus. Considering a lot of his circumstances, he's had a really rough, childhood growing up and stuff, especially after my youngest was born, and um, he's really maintained focused. And yeah, he has a plan. Like he's talked about the Olympics. He's talked about possibly as he finishes with his wrestling career, transitioning into MMA. He used to do kickboxing, so it's like riding a bike, just doing it all over again. And then he even mentioned him wanting to open up his own like fight show. So I mean, he has a plan. Just gotta stay focused and and concentrate in school too. I'll tell you what, he has a really great support um, group. A lot of people really love him, really care about him, take care of him. And I know it also has to do, besides the fact that he's a really good kid, he's a really good kid. Teenagers do their things or whatever, but to be honest, he's a good kid. But he has such amazing talent that, anybody that takes him under his wing is going to definitely get a great athlete.
Now let's talk about. I remember you talking about when you first got to the American Top Team, kind of when it was fairly new still. Um, and you talked about how some of the other women that came in. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about that because you talked about like Nina Ansaroff, Tisha Torres, some of these people. Um, what do you remember about them when you were training there?
Um, like Nina Ansaroff was, like I said, really good friends with Jessica Aguilar, so she was, always around. And I know she had a few losses before, and then she started training on an American Top Team or whatever. And I remember her telling me, thinking about maybe not continuing, but she is a phenomenal athlete. She has great talent. She works really hard. So I'm sure that Jessica and her coach, I believe it was Pahumpa, talked her out of it. And yeah, she started fighting and she was just winning um, all her fights. And like I said, then Tisha Torres came in, and Tisha Torres already had kind of been making her name around. She did a lot of kickboxing tournaments and she always won. Um, and she just trained so hard. She's very disciplined. She's a very smart woman, to be honest. And then she started talking to me. She came in, um, and I remember she's so cute. Uh, she's like I said, she's very smart. She knows how to promote herself. She's I don't want to say self-made because I'm sure there's a lot of people that helped her along the way, but she knew what steps to take and how to promote herself and etc. But I remember the first time we did sparring, I was like, hey, I have to do a photo shoot. I'm a little nervous. Sorry, this background. I apologize. But inside would probably be a lot noisier. Kids, dogs. But anyways, I remember asking her. I was like, I don't know, should I put makeup on or not make, for the photo shoot? She's like, heck yeah, girl, I would put makeup on. She was really cute. And then I finished the photo shoot and I jumped straight into bloqueo, which was a huge mistake because I didn't warm up or anything. And I remember we started sparring and she like teed off on me and I was like, oh my God. Because she's so small. She's very muscular, very strong, but like she's like 5 feet tall or something. I'm like 5'5", 5'6". And I remember like I was oh hell no, and I threw an overhand right, and that's really when I injured my shoulder for the first time. And I trained like that for years until I guess it was hanging by a thread, and I did the slightest move and boom, that's it, reconstructive surgery. But yeah, Teacher Tori was always amazing. She was very supportive for me and to me. Excuse me, because I ended up getting a fight in Invicta. And I didn't want to do the fight. I wasn't ready, mentally, physically, emotionally, in many ways. But the the manager I had at the moment and the person that helped me get the fight, which, he's really well known down here, especially South Florida. Uh, Roger Craw had instructed me, like, this is a really good opportunity. Don't blow it. So I went ahead and I did the fight, but I do regret it, but it's said and done. It was a great experience, to be honest. Invicta, that was like the second Invicta that they had. Man, the way that they treat their athletes is wow. It's amazing. You know what I mean? They give you your own room. They had a lady to braid your hair. They had a care package. They had amazing fighters. My God, it was a great experience. So and after the fight, Jasmine Duke, that's who I ended up fighting. Oh my God, what a black eye I had. But anyways, we became friends. Very nice, very, very, very sweet woman. And I remember, I think even when they did the first Tough with the women in it, she had reached out to me and she's like, you should come. And I was like, I can't, you know. Financially, was not easy to get there. You know what I mean? And boom, she made it on the team, and history.
Now, how much pressure was there? You talked about you didn't feel you were ready to take the fight. How much pressure did you feel to do that?
A lot. A lot.
Because you were managed by somebody, or was it just personally because you wanted to, be a fighter that you felt the pressure? Was it more because you were in this management situation?
To be honest, my manager, he really good person. But yeah, I felt a little pressured because basically if I pulled out of the fight or whatever, it was going to look bad on me and look bad on him and look bad on the person that helped me get the fight and blah blah blah. So I felt that pressure in that way, and I didn't want to let anybody down. And I was like, fuck it, let's just go, let's duke it out. Probably not the smartest thing to do when you're going against, these MMA fighters have been training for years in, either specific martial art. They have a really strong background. I've always said when you train MMA, it's not just, oh, you only go to boxing, oh, you only go to kickboxing, oh, you only go to BJ. You have a full, like, curriculum. You do your MMA, not meaning your MMA, you do your Jiu-Jitsu, you do your Muay Thai. Some people go off and they also train their boxing. Then you come in and then you do your MMA sparring so you can put it all together. And then you gotta, have a nutritionist. Most people have a nutritionist. They have strength and conditioning coach, and some people even need like a sports psychologist because it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, and if you don't have that kind of support system behind you, you'll crash. Some people are stronger than others. I don't know. You know what I mean? Some people aren't married. They don't have kids. All they do is literally eat and breathe and shit MMA. But then there's others that don't, you know what I mean? So, yeah, this is, doing MMA is no joke. You better be training and doing what you're supposed to and before you get in that cage, you know what I mean? You're not going in there to play, patty cake. You're not doing ballet. You're going in there to knock shit out of each other, you know what I mean? You're going to finish. So... But that's another thing, like I was saying earlier, that your coach, I don't remember his name, the show that I actually joined in to watch and hear. You better have a really good corner, a corner that you actually trust. You know what I mean? You gotta have your ground guy, your striking guy. You just gotta have a really strong support system behind you because people get hurt, really badly hurt in the cage. Some people die. If you don't cut weight right, you can get really hurt. People have died from cutting weight not properly. So, yeah, this is not easy.
Now, but you are kind of wanting to get back into it to some degree, right?
Yes, I do. I believe from being in it so long, seeing so many people that made it really big, and just growing up, being more mature, I see it a whole lot different than before. You know what I mean? It's not now that it's a pressure thing, or um, it's more of something that I personally want to do for me. You know what I mean? And I feel like I still have a lot of fight in me, a lot of fight in me. I know I'm getting older, and some people might be like, "Oh my God, what is she thinking? She's a lot older. A lot of these girls are so much younger." But you know, when I went in the other day to to the gym and I did my sparring and just training, I mean, I was there for 2 3 weeks, and the two of the head kickboxing coaches and um, even Charles was like, "Wow," they were impressed. Um, so I can definitely say that I have experience behind my belt. So I pick up a lot faster than I did when I first started. You know, I haven't had too many wars to where I'm, you know, badly injured and stuff. I'm still pretty hungry, so I mean, I know that circumstances shouldn't get in my way, or I shouldn't be a victim of circumstances, as my friend has said to me before. But yeah, it's not easy when you do have a child that has special needs, and that their health is a big issue. You know what I mean? Because I can't just leave my son with my mom and be like, "Hey, mom, I'm leaving." You know what I mean? Or I can't just leave my son with a friend or whatever. He has a trach, he has a G tube, he had a heart transplant. If he pulls out his trach and you don't know how to put it back in, he dies. And I've had quite a few emergencies. So, that really makes it a big issue. And, you know, nowadays everything is so expensive. Everything's gone up, from gas to food to this to that. So obviously the gyms have to go up in prices as well. You know what I mean? So that makes it a lot harder too. To be able to pay to get to a gym and stuff. So I mean, right now, since I went to the gym and I did almost a month or whatever, and I did my training and I did my sparring, and I'm like, "Shit, Suzie, you're a motherfucking badass." Excuse my language. I'm sure everybody cusses or whatever, but um, considering everything, you know, I still got it in me. So, this month it's been a month since I've been able to go to the gym, and it's mostly financial reason or whatever. I've been putting in work at home, whatever I can do. Something is better than nothing. You know what I mean? I take advantage. If I do have a nurse, I go outside. I do my weights. I do my kickboxing by myself. I don't have a bag. Screw it. I put a tie pad against the tree. I tie that sucker up and I start kicking the shit out of it. You know what I mean? My husband, he's pretty busy, so he can't always really help me. But when he can, I ask him, "Hey, can you please hold the mitts for me or whatever?" Where there's a will, there's a way. If you really want to do something, you're going to find a way to do it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Now, is your husband, is he still training?
No, he's not. He's more of a trainer now, if anything. I'm sure inside of him he would love to train and compete again, but you know what I mean? It's like, again, I said, it's not that easy, especially when you're the bread maker. So I think he gets his thrill from making his fighters and going to see his fighters fight and win, and seeing, wow, they're like babies when you first get them. You know what I mean? And then you bring them up, and you see them, you know, pretty much throughout their journey, and I think that's how he gets off on that. But I'm 100% sure he would love to train and fight again. Oh, 100.
Where's he training people?
He teaches at American Top Team, Fort Lauderdale.
So is he like jiu-jitsu coach or striking coach? Or
He's a striking coach. He's a striking coach, and I believe he does MMA in the mornings.
And who are some of the athletes he trains there?
I'm sorry?
Who are some of the guys that he's trained there that have went on to start fighting?
Uh, God. I don't really know, but there's one big name that y'all better look out for him. His name is Delano Taylor. He just did the PFL, I believe, um, about 2 weekends ago or whatever. He freaking popped out the guy's eye.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. I've known Delano since he first started American Top Team for Leather. He's an amazing person. He's such a good guy, honestly. But his work ethic it's like impeccable. You know what I mean? He just he's just a phenomenal guy all around. He finished his college. Now he's focusing on his fighting. I can say he's a great friend too. Um, but that's one of them. I know that he helped when Charles Rosa first started. I remember he used to help him with his striking. Um, he's helped quite a few guys. I mean, I wouldn't be able to like drop a name list or anything at the moment on off the top of my head. But he's definitely worked with some of the best, that's for sure. Like I remember when we first started going American Top Team, Coconut Creek, they would always ask for his help or to spar with some of the bigger names or whatever because his striking is really good. He has really good striking.
Now, if you're looking to get back, I know it's hard to say because you got things going on, obviously, but what could possibly be realistic in a perfect situation for you to get back?
Can you be more specific? Sorry.
Well, like if you wanted to compete again, what would be like a time frame that, if it was possible,
If it
you would?
was possible for me to train exactly how I need to train and everything went down, like I said, in a perfect world or whatever, I think in 6 months I would be ready to get in the cage. Honestly, um, honestly and truthfully, um, my weight is a little on the higher side right now, but like I said, that's something that can't be fixed with the right guidance and stuff. Because that's one of the things that the coach asked me at American Combat Gym. He's like, "What exactly, if you wanted to fight, what exactly do you think you would need the most?" And I said, pretty much the strength and conditioning and nutrition, and maybe some ground, but mainly the strength and conditioning and nutrition.
Because I mean, in Florida, it's exploding down there. Competition-wise, there's so many shows.
It's insane. It's insane. There's shows left and right every single weekend. You know what I mean? If I know if I put in the work, um, and I pretty much say I'm ready, all it is pretty much a phone call or you know there's especially like back in the days it was really hard to find a fight because there wasn't a lot of female fighters. Now there's like a dime a dozen. Like there's so many fighters in so many different weight categories or whatever. But right now I do believe from what I've noticed it's mainly like the lower weight class 115 that has the most fighters, maybe 125 or whatever. um, but I think it's just putting in the work, showing up. That's one of the things Charles McCarthy said: just show up, because it's just going to fall into place once you start showing up and putting in the work. It's there. It's like riding a bike. You know what I mean? You just got to put in the work.
Now, as we're kind of winding down the interview here, I always like to let people kind of leave, people that are listening to maybe something they think is important or something we haven't talked about, or where they can follow some of the stuff you're doing.
I apologize one more time.
No, maybe something you wanted to leave the people that are listening to this that you might think is important or we didn't talk about, or something where they could follow what you're doing, for example.
Mm, uh, I don't know, but definitely look out for the ladies from American Combat Gym. He has they have quite a few girls that are very talented and amazing. Miranda Barber just went on to do a bare knuckle fight and she knocked the girl out. I think the first round, but she knocked her out. She's a big name, uh, you know, I really like her. She's a really great person. Like I said, she, her work ethic is really good too, and she'll fight anybody and anywhere. I really like that about her. Another girl, her name is Miranda Galban. Um, I really like her. Like, when I got my purple belt at Wagner Rocha's academy, she had came out, because they do like an open mat or whatever, and I was just watching her, and I was like amazed. I was in awe the way that this girl moves, and she just started doing striking too, and it's like nice, clean striking. It's not like some beginners that are just like all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, just they go ham. No, she has like wonderful technique. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I would say is look out for the girls from American Combat Gym. And if you're looking into getting MMA, it's not your typical, oh, I'm gonna get into a bar fight. It's not I'm gonna get into a street fight. This is serious stuff. You really got to put the work in. And if like that gentleman said, if you can find the right support system and the right team, stick with them and grow with them. You know what I mean? Because they can get you pretty far. Versus jumping around from gym to gym.
Now, with all your experience that you've had as a, training, competing, what's something for all that time? If you were going to tell somebody that's looking to get into, whether it be martial arts or MMA, just a lesson you learned over all that time.
It's a great question. um, don't burn bridges. Be kind. Be professional. Be on time. Make weight. Um, be nice. Unfortunately nowadays people think it's okay to be cocky and arrogant and disrespectful. You know, to get the show going and get people watching. And no, this is a sport. You know what I mean? It's MMA hasn't been around as long, and maybe it has as long as other martial arts. But have discipline. Have um, have respect. You know what I mean? You're athletes. There's no need to be disrespectful and whatever. But yeah, mainly like I said, be professional. Be on time. Um, make your way and don't burn bridges, because a lot of the time you end up having to cross paths with, it's a small world, it's a small community, everybody knows everybody. So yeah, that's probably one of the things I would say that I've learned the hard way.
On the subject of like respect, Masvidal Covington, what do you think about how that transpired?
Oh my God. Sometimes I try to tend to be more reserved on my comments, because something that I've been noticing a lot, I have no problems with anybody who's transgender or anything like that, but the fact that they're letting male turn into female, transgender, compete against women, to me is crazy. Because I had said something about Fallon Fox. No offense to him, her, way back when all this happened, and he did the CFA, tournament, and he won. She won. Sorry, it's really, Anyways, I said something, and I was frowned upon because of it. So sometimes after that, I try to like reserve my comments. But to be honest, he should just, I'm really sorry to anybody that I may offend. I'm not a fan of Kobe. Actually, I like George Masvidal, and I've had a conversation or two with him at American Top Team. He's actually a really nice guy. But yeah, don't bring kids into this. Don't bring family members. Don't bring husbands, wives. Be a professional. The fight is between you and I, and because we signed a contract, it's a job. Why make it personal? Like, you know what I mean? Don't be an asshole. People think that because you're rude or you're cocky or you got a smart mouth, you slick out the mouth, that you're gonna sell the show. Yeah, you kind of do sell the show that way, but I think with kids growing up and coming about and getting into the MMA world, you need to teach them respect, discipline and tradition, and you know what I mean. So yeah, It
I
is
mean,
what it is. You know, these guys are from freaking Miami, you know, from down south, and you know, yeah. Usually, when you try somebody, they're gonna pop you in your face.
yeah, what do you think I mean, I know you're not, well, you're still training some, so what are you hearing people say, you know, because you're in Florida. How are they reacting to what happened?
I really haven't heard anybody say anything about it. I've just seen a lot of memes or you know people posting the news from MMA, you know, news or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what anybody thinks about it. I'm just speaking for myself. Like you know, I read about it or whatever. They you know got into the fight. I think one of the things said that his tooth you know he got punched out, and then he called the police. Like, why are you gonna call the police? You know what I mean? Ain't you a badass? Like, I don't understand why people gotta call the police. You know, if it's something personal, fix it between you guys. Let it go. You call the police. Now you're a little bitch. Now you got him freaking, you know, with charges against him when you're the one that kind of, you know, started the whole situation. I'm not okay with, you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think people don't understand. They haven't been around people that are from the street, you know, and you know, if you go, I mean,
Like I
I've,
said, look, you know, and I'm getting older. I'm 41, and you know, I've definitely changed a lot. I started going. I've always believed in God, but you know, I started getting closer to God. So I've changed a lot, and I'm a lot more reserved. I hold back a lot more, whatever. But the hood in me, you know, like they say, you could take the girl out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the girl. You know, you try me, and I hold back, like I said, a lot more. But I'm gonna fuck you up if need be, you know, whatever. One thing is in the cage or whatever. We outside in the street, you know. I've gotten into a few like street fights that quite a few. So I don't know what to tell you, but you know, I was reading something earlier that somebody posted, and they're like, you know, one thing is in the cage or whatever, but when you start trash talking and you're outside the cage, and you know somebody comes from the streets and whatever, you better be able to back it up. You know what I mean?
yeah, I see people saying, "Oh, Masvidal reacted like a street thug." I'm like, he
Oh,
is a,
well,
he
whatever,
is,
whatever. You know what? Everybody could say he, you know, he reacted like a street thug or whatever. At the end of the day, walking outside in the street, somebody steps to you, you're gonna do something, or it's either one. Either you're gonna do something back, or you're gonna be a little bitch and walk away.
but he
That's
is
it.
from
You
the
know.
street. People should expect him to react that way. He is from the street, you
I
know.
mean, exactly. You know what I mean? Like,
He
and then
did-
at the end of the day, like, if you have so much balls to say something, you know what I mean? Then don't be a little, you know.
They
I'm
think
like I
they're
said,
all
I'm trying my best to reserve myself, but like, if you have the balls to talk shit, and especially when you're outside the street, you better be able to back it up. Like, don't be a little pussy, and then again, you know, oh, he's such a thug, he's such a hood. So what? Why you gotta be a freaking piece of trash? You know what I mean? Instigating and being disrespectful. Like, what do you expect? What, you're a pretty boy, so you can't handle the stress of a street thug? So shut the fuck up. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I'm sure.
no, no. I think people they think everybody's the same. Not everybody's the same, you know. And I mean,
Everybody.
I live outside of Tulsa. I mean, the first 48 films here. There's certain parts of town I wouldn't go to for certain reasons, you know, because if you said something the wrong way, or if you just happen to run into the wrong person, it could be a big problem. And
Over here, where I'm from, where I was born and raised in Overtown. I mean, not Overtown. Sorry, Liberty City. You just look towards the person that way, and they're like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And you're like, "Damn, I wasn't even looking at you." You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But besides, you know, the street thug and whatever comments and nonsense, you know, at the end of the day, you said what you said. What did you expect? Street thug or not? Like, you know what I mean? Don't talk about people's family. Don't talk about their kids. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't talk about somebody's wife. Don't talk about somebody's husband. Um, it's, you know, be classy. Be classy. Be professional. Just keep it, you know, we signed a contract. We're both athletes. We're here to perform. We're here to do a show. And we got a job. Let's get in there, you know, fight to somebody, you know, finishes somebody, or, you know, I don't know. Like, That's all I got to say about that.
No, I want to thank you for taking time to do this. I couldn't do this
You know
kind of
what,
stuff.
Todd? I have to tell you, thank you for the opportunity for letting me be on your show. I was actually really shocked that you asked me because I've been inactive for such a long time. And then I'm like, what can I possibly bring to the show or to, what collateral can I bring? But at the end of the day, I was around a lot of really well-known names. I've been around this for a while. I hope that somebody could have gotten anything out of what I said. But I think that one of the things that you asked, and I think it's a great point that I made, what would you say to somebody who's just starting off? And those few things that I said, making weight, being on time, being professional, being kind, don't burn bridges. It's very important, for somebody who's just starting out and wants to get far in the game. So anyways, I really appreciate, the opportunity. It was great talking to you. I had a lot of fun. I was a little nervous at first, and I'm sorry the phone died earlier.
It's quite all right. No, you can come back on anytime. We could talk with other people or whatever.
Anytime you want. Like I said, I appreciate it, and hopefully from here, I got a little bit stressed off of myself, because I think I'm gonna be able to train for the next few months, for X reasons or whatever, and that's making me happy. So I'm just gonna go in, put the work in. Again, like I said, it's therapy. I remember saying that to Charles McCarthy, and he's like, I absolutely get it. He's like, even if we don't, get anything out of it, like fighting again or whatever, it keeps me sane. Everybody has different outlets. For me, is punching, kicking somebody in the face, and getting punched and kicked in my face. Hey, we're all very different. But anyways, Todd, you're the best. I'm really glad, and I appreciate the fact that you go on and you talk to the MMA community and take the time.
Yeah, I appreciate doing it. I loved it. It's fun for me, and I was glad to talk to you. And like I said, you can come on anytime. We could do other stuff.
Well, hopefully when I do come back, it's because maybe I have a fight coming up. Yay! If not, we can talk
No doubt.
smack. You have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, and God bless.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right, bye.